does it look like grand enough, under the tree, etc.
Yeah.
But now it's all about the aesthetics and does it look
That's right.
big enough? Do you know what I mean?
I'll be honest with you, it's our doing this.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got anyone to blame, but
like the whole big grand display of presents and stuff. But as you start to get a little bit older and wiser, you just look and think, actually, this stuff is not going to be played with.
Today, I'm thinking, did we get enough? Did we get
Yeah.
and it shouldn't really be like that, because
So the kid starts unwrapping stuff and it's a tin of beans and a tin of tuna.
everyone spends a ridiculous amount of money that actually probably don't need to.
No,
Most parents know that they'll buy toys that in a year's time or 6 months' time they'll stop playing with. Kev, good to see you again, man.
Hello, mate. You okay?
Did you have a lovely Christmas?
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, all the kids loved it. The nice big family meal, etc. So feeling nice and festive and plump at the moment. So yeah, it's been great. What about yourself?
Yeah, fantastic. Kids got spoiled. Family came round, did the whole shebang of chaos cooking on Christmas Day. Yeah, really, 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 really good. But kids, these days are just, I'm sure I speak for many parents now, but kids are just so they're just so spoiled nowadays, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're just they just get so much just stuff.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we were wrapping up presents. I told you in the last episode that we were normally wrap up presents on the Christmas Eve, 11 o'clock at night, and we start then, and it goes all the way through to 2 a.m., which is a terrible, terrible habit. But actually, we broke that this year. We wrapped up on the 21st or something like that.
Right.
So we started wrapping then. But the reason why I'm saying this is, just going back to your point about kids being spoiled, we counted 14 or 15 presents each kid. So, 30 in total. And I'm like, oh, is that enough? Does it look like grand enough, under the tree, etc.
Yeah,
and it was never that when we were growing up. It was always just like we had 3 or 4.
I got
presents. one main present. Do you know what I mean? But now it's all about the aesthetics and does it look big enough? Do you know what I mean? So, and I think it gets harder as they get older because the stuff they want gets smaller as well. So that grand display of presents actually doesn't look as impressive. But yeah, ridiculous thing to ask: is 15 presents per child enough? Do you know what I mean?
This is it, and it depends on the size of the presents, and that shouldn't be the conversation. It sounds such a first world problem, but actually, that's what all the kids are thinking about. And actually, I'm not sure if it's the same with you, but our kids are now getting older, where before it was all about toys.
Yes.
And with toys, you get lots of sort of little toys and add-on things and things that you would buy as part of that collection. But my kids don't play toys anymore, so we don't do the Barbies or the Marvels or anything. And now it's about, well, for Natasha, it's about skincare and cosmetics.
Oh, I saw that she got the that's the Sephora beauty calendar.
Well, this is it.
It's impressive, that thing, isn't it? Yeah.
And this is it, you see, like 11-year-olds. I'll be honest with you, it's our doing this.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got anyone to blame, but the presents seem to be smaller now in package size, but more expensive.
Correct. That's the same thing with us. So we're in a thankful position that actually Bradley and Hayden are still well into Dragon Ball, which I loved as a kid as well.
Yeah,
so they've got all the little figures and stuff, so I can actually still buy them toys. So yeah, but Hayden also wanted a basketball hoop, which was quite big in size, a football rebounder, those things where you kick the ball off it and it flies back to you. So that was quite decent in size. Bradley wanted a mini foosball table. So we looked out this year because they actually wanted things that were slightly bigger. So they did look quite nice.
Looks great. Yeah, looks great.
Exactly. And not that expensive stuff. Whereas they'd asked for an iPad, which actually one year they did. That's like a box is this big and it's 300 quid. And then that's mostly, sort of like a lot of your budget gone.
Yeah. Well, that's what our kids got this year. Our kids got new iPads this year because they've not had iPad. They have not had new iPads for 4 or 5 years now. Yeah. So theirs is old. It's there's not enough storage. Like you said, that's a big chunk of the budget gone already. So all the little add-ons, and even now looking back, after the day, I'm thinking, did we get enough? Did we get and it shouldn't really be like that, because definitely when I was a kid, I got the one main present, and that was kind of it. It was a decent present, but that was it.
I think at some point it's going to go back to that. At some point it will. At the moment, I'm definitely swaying away from this. I used to like it. I used to like the whole big grand display of presents and stuff. But as you start to get a little bit older and wiser, you just look and think, actually, this stuff is not going to be played with. You know, like that
Yeah,
foosball table is just going to sit there all year and it's just going to collect
yeah.
dust. And really, do we want another bit of plastic going into landfill and all that
That's the
sort of stuff?
thing.
And then just one big thing that they want, whether it's, I don't know, a jacket or, an iPad or whatever it is, they will get to that point. Trust me, Hayden's going to get to that point where it's like, Dad, I want a Stone Island jacket for Christmas. And they'd
It's
be
getting
like, why?
harder to buy. I mean, Natasha's at this age now where the stuff that she wants are so tiny, like this little
Yeah,
tiny bottle of cosmetics or skincare, or whatever, and it's like 50 quid. And you think, is that really good use
I
of money,
know.
really? Do you know?
And
But
also,
that's what they want.
is it good to teach them? You know,
No, it's a terrible lesson.
yeah, do you get what I
It's a
mean? Like,
yeah,
yeah, I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing exactly the same thing. Like Hayden's got stuff in the past where I'm like, okay, I've spent 80 quid on this. It could be whatever. It could be a new game. It could be a controller for his PlayStation. I'm like, well, this is just a controller, and I've set a new bar now, a new low of saying, Dad, we can spend 80 quid on a game. We can spend 80 quid on a fancy controller for the PlayStation. It's just not something that you really want to be doing, but society is driving everything that way anyway, isn't it? So yeah,
it
it's
is.
hard to fight the tide, really.
Do you think on some level, Kev, that we are living the lives that we didn't have through our kids? And what we're actually doing is, yeah, sure, we're spoiling them, but actually we're doing that whole thing, and that's regardless of culture. I think every generation does this. Is that we're going to give our kids this the stuff that we didn't have? Do you think there's
Yeah,
an element of that we're just
I
living their little lives through them?
I think so. I think, just to be clear, like I hear this a lot about, people saying we're giving things to our kids that we didn't get as children. I have to be honest and say my dad was actually quite generous with me and, as a kid. So for instance, I've told you that he bought me a NES, and like, a lot of times if I said there was a period where I was into hip hop, as a teenager. So like Timberlands and all like expensive jackets and jeans and stuff. And he would go out and get me that stuff if he remembered, like, oh yeah, my son's into this stuff now. So he's been quite willing to spend his money in certain areas. But I do feel like there were certain instances growing up where buying toys, for example, I'd have one Transformer and that would be the only Transformer that I had.
Yeah,
So yeah, there are instances where my parents thought, actually, we don't want too much of an excess on certain toys. So yeah, I do feel like now, because of those instances where I didn't get what I wanted in terms of the number of toys, I overcompensate for the
yeah,
boys. So
totally.
Bradley's got, he's got like 20 Dragon Ball figures, at least 20. And these things are 20 quid a pop
Yeah.
amassed over the
Well,
last 2 years.
let's hope he realizes the collectible value of it. We've got like collections where about 3 years ago we stopped buying toys for toys and we started buying it for collector's value.
Nice. Yeah.
At the moment, he's actually into Dragon Ball like literally 3 months ago, so that's just come in
Nice.
time as well. So
Brilliant.
Santa brought him a couple of those figures. Who's the chief present buyer in yours?
Interestingly, me. So I always
Really?
have been since about, in the last episode I talked about how I built this Christmas up in our household, right? So part of that responsibility of building up Christmas was presents as well. My parents weren't that bothered about presents. They were like, look, just here's some money, go out and get your brother and sister and aunties and uncles and all that presents if you really want to. So that became my responsibility. And then as we had children and I got married, etc., that same responsibility has always come down to me. So in our household, I am not only the treasurer that keeps the coffers going, but also the present buyer as well. So I get to decide, which is quite a nice privilege actually, decide how much we spend, what we spend, on who. So yeah, it's nice because this year was really easy because the kids didn't ask for a lot, and normally they would ask for pretty chunky budgets and things that cost a pretty penny. But they only asked for a couple of figures, foosball table, basketball hoop, etc. So yeah, I am the chief present buyer, and this year I got off lightly.
I am the treasurer and I'm also the one that inspects at the very end. So Jan will
Nice.
go and do the big shop and
Yeah.
then, but I am always the one that goes, is that really enough? And
That's
then I'll say,
interesting.
let's get another one of these or get
Yeah.
another one of these and add to it because
Did
I'm
that
all,
happen this year?
oh, every year.
Oh, right,
Every,
nice, nice.
every year, and I'm the same. I'm the same to Jan as well. So the presents I had planned to buy her, where I
Yeah,
bought it, I got it, and I thought doesn't quite seem enough, and then I have to add to it all the time, and before you know it, and then at the closer you get to Christmas, what I find is you start to then worry about, have I given my family a good enough Christmas? And that, 10 times out of 10 you bloody have,
yeah,
but then you kind of think, I go into this whole downward spiral of, do you know what, they're not going to be this young for much
yeah,
longer, but they're going to be flying the nest, so to speak, in 5, 6, 7 years time, and we're not going to do this again. Let's do this properly every year, and every year we do it. Every year I do it. I overspend, I overdo it, and then we end up getting loads of presents. But the one thing I've learned over the last 3 years is
mhm,
to buy presents that last, as in,
yes,
because we've gone through that tat stage, and I don't mean this sort of in a bad way, but you kind of, most parents know that they'll buy toys that in a year's
yeah,
time or 6 months time they'll stop playing with. But
yeah, yeah,
now I kind of only choose, Jan is the same as well, that we only choose presents that either when they stop playing it, there is some residual collectible value. So, for example, there
right.
was one year, I think it was in lockdown, where for some reason, and great timing actually, Natasha was really into Sylvanian families. I don't know if your boys
Yeah,
are,
I know. Yeah,
and I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
Sylvanian families was a kid, and some of these collectible items go for thousands, right?
Wow.
And so Jan, again, living out her childhood, she never got
Mhm.
anything like that. She went on this massive spree. We're in lockdown. The kids deserve.
Yeah,
So we've got this huge collection of Sylvanian families that actually Natasha does not play with anymore.
right.
They're in the cupboard, and actually, I think, and I'm fine with that, because in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, they might be worth
Mm.
something.
Yeah, no, this is a really good shout. So we've done a similar thing apart from this year where they've asked for foosball table and basketball hoops, etc. But normally I would choose collectibles or things that they use for many years, iPads, PS5, all that sort of stuff. But they're going to get longevity out of it. But
Yeah,
a couple of years ago, Bradley was really into Transformers. So, and I think Netflix had a series on Transformers. I don't know if you watched it. It's pretty good actually, if you haven't. But there was a Bumblebee and a Soundwave. So they're two Transformers. One's an Autobot, one's a Decepticon. Bloody hell, this episode's going to make me look like a right geek. I'm talking about Dragon Ball toys and Transformers, etc. But no, but there's a Bumblebee and a Soundwave, and I tripled up on every single one. So open one, keep one, and sell one essentially.
oh,
So
that's a
that
great
yeah.
idea.
So it was honestly, mate. They're like this Bumblebee was. I think it's like 20 quid to buy. It's already the one I've kept. I've sold one for 90, and now it's gone up to 160. So this
Wow.
thing in 20 years' time is just going to build up money. And I'm the same with trainers and stuff. Like I'll buy two pairs of
What
trainers. I'll lock
one
one
pair to wear,
away.
one pair to keep.
Yeah, one to rock and one to stock. That's what they say over there.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice, nice.
so yeah, exactly that. And I'll do the same with presents as well. So yeah, but those Slovenian families, they'll be worth a pretty penny in the
Yeah,
future, I
yeah,
reckon.
and yeah, we've got a few collections like that. So, in terms of the presents that we talked about, the kids, what
Mm.
about, when it comes to you giving presents
Ah.
to the wife?
Mm.
I have this problem every year about the
You're gonna
number
put me
of
to shame here,
presents.
mate. Yeah, you're gonna put me to shame here.
No,
I
I'm not going to
reckon.
say what the items are,
Yeah,
but I always have this guilt that, cause I have this thing where I end up just throwing money at it
yeah,
because
yeah.
you've run out of things to buy. But I do this
Mm.
thing every beginning of the year, and that is getting my wife into a new hobby, just
Ah,
so I can start buying
it's
presents for that hobby.
that's mind manipulation. That is in terms of
Yeah,
like some Derren Brown territory where you're like, right, I don't have any clue what I'm going to buy you, so I'm going to orchestrate you getting into
yeah,
art or
yeah.
archery, so I can buy you a bow or a
Yeah,
canvas
yeah,
and some paint. You
exactly.
know what I
So
mean?
every
Yeah,
year I try and say, "Oh, have you tried this? Do you want to?
yeah.
Maybe we do this." And then I start watching videos about the thing that she might be interested in, and whatever catches, bingo.
Excellent, excellent. So, have you done? Has that worked this year?
Well, the thing that I did 2 years ago is still going, so I'm still riding that
Nice.
wave.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to do that. So I normally have to, I do some mind manipulation as well in terms of like saying, ooh, this looks like a nice pair of shoes, or this looks like a nice. And then she's like, initially it'll start off with, oh, I don't like those. And then I'll be like, oh, have you seen who's wearing those pairs of shoes now? You said it could be
What do you
some
think of
celeb or
that?
whatever. Yeah, what do you think of
Yeah.
that? And it's like, oh yeah, they're actually quite nice. And then she will then start replaying it back to me, saying, I quite like these. And yeah, that's how it all starts. Is I normally plant the seed. That seed is normally pushed away, and then slowly it filters out and grows into a desire. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I
It
think
is a
buying
it's a
presents.
strange time of year, isn't it? About
Yeah, it
the
is.
buying presents, and you have this sort of you have this concentration of, and everyone's the same. Everyone's the same. You have this concentration that everyone spends a ridiculous amount of money that actually
Mhm.
probably don't need to.
No, I completely agree. I feel like, and it's a lot. Social media's got a lot to blame for it. I think there was a trend probably. I'm going back 7 or 8 years, maybe something like that, probably a little bit longer, where you would literally just take a picture of your tree with like loads of presents underneath, and it was almost
Yeah,
like, look, it was the equivalent of, look how well we're doing because we can
yeah.
afford to buy our kids and our family that. And I think people don't do that anymore because it just looks
It's a bit,
grotesque, doesn't it? It looks
yeah,
a bit
it's a
crass.
bit crass, it's a bit
Mm,
gross, and it's a little bit. But I think you're right, actually. Did you know that, like, like the royal family? Did you
mm.
know that they don't give each other proper presents?
No, I didn't know that.
So there is a tradition where birthdays and Christmases and things like that, they don't actually give each other proper presents. Well, I suppose they don't really. The royalty, for God's sakes,
Yeah.
they give each other joke presents.
Okay.
So like
Yeah.
really crappy joke present. Remember the fish, the plastic fish that you hang on the wall that sang?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
give presents like that because they don't. Because I mean, they're just so wealthy that they don't need to, right?
I mean, that's when you know that you're truly wealthy. Is when
Yeah,
it doesn't
exactly.
matter. Like, there's nothing I can give you of any value that's gonna make your day any different because you can go out and get it yourself. Unless you buy them an island and say, "I've just bought you this island
Yeah,
over here," or
exactly. But
whatever.
then
Yeah,
there's only so many of them you can buy. So
yeah,
it's
exactly.
like, yeah, it's just this ridiculous amount of money that people spend. Sometimes
Mhm.
people spend money they haven't got, which is a really bad thing for of society. But like
Yeah,
I did the big Christmas shop
I
just
saw it was
about
massive, mate.
three, 4
You,
days before Christmas.
your big IKEA bags, and
Yeah,
then you filled those three big IKEA bags, and the stuff was overflowing.
overflowing. I had to put it
IKEA
into directly into the boot.
that shop.
I never take the kids on the shop like that
Right. Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
slow me down. But the thing is that it's that whole mentality of Christmas. It's such a fabricated commercial event now that
Yeah.
none of the things that we do, and we talked about it in the previous episode, that the way that we've manufactured our own Christmases is
Yeah.
because we never really had that when we were kids. But I do feel that there is an element, even in all cultures, where they get wound up into the whole Christmas spirit, the adverts and the decorations in town, and and things like that, and you start getting wrapped up in the whole of this excitement, and you think, like, people giving like chocolates, for example. It's like you
Yeah.
cannot eat that many chocolates.
No, no, we did it. We've given it to next door neighbors, and like, I think one year we did like alcohol, a small present if they had children, and chocolates for like 6 or 7 neighbors, and we're like,
Neighbors,
let's not
yeah.
do that again. Let's not do that again because it was like 40 quid, 50 quid a neighbor
You've
or
got
whatever that
you've
we
got
should.
to you,
Do you
yeah,
know what I
you've
mean?
got yeah, you've got to draw the line, right? Because then they've got to reciprocate, and when does it end?
Yeah. Did you see that meme? It was like, oh, quick, it's Christmas, everyone panic. Let's buy enough food for 30 to 40 days because the shops are closed. Because the shops are closed for
For
12
one day.
hours. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for
It was
one day.
ridiculous.
I do feel that on some level, and I'm completely guilty of this. That I don't feel that this is good parenting. I do feel
Mm,
that if my kids are spoilt, it's only because I've done it.
yeah, yeah. I'm actually going. I'm almost going the other way now for next Christmas. I'm thinking, how can we show them good practice and like disposable presents that are going to be chucked away? Let's
Yeah,
not do that anymore. It's not
a great.
about
I completely
it's not about
agree.
asking Santa for loads. It's about asking Santa for stuff that means something, and
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I'm tempted. You've probably seen it online. I'm tempted to start putting bows around the radiator and around the tap, and
yeah,
this year, Mum and Dad have got you some heat. A
yeah,
good roof above your head, clean
yeah.
water. Just putting ribbons on everything.
Yeah, imagine. I did see like this. I think it must have been the dad that had done it. He said he'd sent the wrong list to Santa, so he said that he sent it was the shopping list, the weekly shop list. So the kid starts unwrapping stuff, and it's a tin of beans and a tin of tuna. He's like, "What's happened?"
I
And then
love
he's like,
it.
"Oh, I must have sent the bloody wrong list to Santa."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
I do a spoof present for the kids, and one year I got them in their old iPad boxes, put an apple in their iPad boxes,
nice. Yeah.
wrapped it all up, and then they opened it, and when Natasha looked at it, I thought, oh, you got an iPad, and then I said, yeah, you've all got new apples, and then they opened it, and it was an apple.
But they were like, no, seriously, Santa, where's the
Yeah,
proper where's the proper
exactly,
thing?
exactly. No, it was
Yeah.
good. I stuck a broccoli in a massive box once.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
What did they
yeah.
say? They were like,
Natasha was
What's
not.
happening
Yeah,
here?"
Natasha was not. I mean, I think every year they're expecting a spoof present from Dad. So I've got to up my game next year.
Yeah, you did it this year, right?
But the
Um,
Christmas gooch, the time
yeah,
we are in, the time between Christmas and New Year, which is a weird time because it's kind of you stop figuring out what day it is, and you just
yeah,
know what number is. So
yes.
you know it's the Boxing Day or the 27th or the 28th, but you don't really know what day it is. I don't even know what day it is today.
No, well, it's the same thing with us. Like I just had you can probably tell that I'm at work and this is lunchtime now. So yeah, we had a team meeting earlier this morning, and we're like, what day is it?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, what have we got to do? Because there's stuff going live for clients at different days and all that lot. So yeah, but that's already started. I'm already losing the concept of time, and it's yeah.
When does the tree come down?
It's a good question. So the tree officially comes down on. We normally aim for about the third, I reckon. So it stays up a little bit past New Year. Now a lot of people they're like Boxing Day. Boxing Day's done. Get that tree down. But
No,
we
that's
we,
too
we
early.
tend to leave it a little bit longer. Yeah. What
That's
about
too
yourself?
early. I would probably say it's normally we don't do it on a specific date. It's normally the first weekend after New Year.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think so. It'd probably be yeah. So this year it will probably be around about the fourth. Yeah, about third or fourth, basically.
Yeah, no, for us. Yeah, it is. It's the first free day that we've got post New Year. Yeah.
Kev, I wish you a very happy New Year.
Yeah, have a great one. All the best to you and the family, and yeah, bring in 2025, and I'll see you in the new year.
See you in the new year. Happy New Year, Kev.
See you later, Terry.